Hi, this is Doug and Brad with episode 15 of the Darksliders podcast.
Hello, everyone.
So, if you guys could please follow us on Twitter and comment on our YouTube videos and stuff, our Twitter is Darksliders underscore POD. Always looking for good feedback. Whether guys like our episodes, don't like them, whatever. So, this is going to be a weird episode. We're not doing anything like our other episodes where we do like games we played, games we want to see. So, this is actually going to be our E3 extravaganza.
Woo!
Totally justified that woo. So what this episode is going to be is we're going to first. I'm just going to kind of explain how we're going to go through this. First, we're going to talk about our favorite E3 conference moments of the past. Then we're going to go over each company's E3 rumors and stuff for each company. And at the end, just kind of talk about which ones we're excited for and kind of our final thoughts on all the conferences. So first thing I kind of like to do is that we kind of screwed up last week a little bit. I screwed up.
Well, you screwed up very enthusiastically.
Yeah, I was like,
You were pumped.
yeah, I screwed up bad. So when we did the episode, like literally like 5 minutes prior, 2K had announced this Advent game, and nobody really knew what it was, and I was convinced that it was BioShock. It wasn't BioShock. It was XCOM 2.
Yeah, it was very
And you can
much
look at the
not
trailer, and
Bioshock.
it's PC only, and that doesn't matter. What matters is I was really wrong, and I completely was so wrong.
Yeah, you weren't even close to being right.
I don't
Like,
think Brad.
at
Brad, do you
all.
have any comments on that?
Yeah, there was nothing at all that you were even close to. I don't know. I'm excited for XCOM. However, it's PC only at this point, which I'm very not excited about because I for sure don't have a PC that's going to come anywhere near to being able to actually run that game.
Yeah, and I think our theory currently is that hopefully this gets a Game of the Year edition down the line, and maybe it'll come to consoles.
Yeah, but definitely not Bioshock, which, I mean, maybe that'll pop up at E3. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. Probably not, though. Well,
No.
maybe. Well, I guess we'll see. Well, anyway, getting into this one. So first, we're going to talk. Oh, these are mostly my favorite personal conference moment. Brad did not come up with a lot.
No, I was kind of slacking on that one. I feel like before we get into this, we should remind everybody that we really have no clue what the hell we're talking about.
Mm-mm.
This is totally just based off of like things that are going around, things that people have been saying. Neither one of us have any kind of inside connection or anything even resembling that at all.
If
So
you'd like to give us an inside connection, we're available at the Darksliders underscore pod. I'm just kidding.
please send all leaks there.
No, don't. I'm not gonna reveal any like
That's true. I don't
NDA
want to do that. I won't be that
information.
person.
Yeah,
Anyway,
don't do that.
but anyway, just feel like we need to get that up front. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So personal conference. What? Okay. First of all, Brad, why didn't you put down any personal conference moments? You not? Are you? I know you like E3 a lot. Do these things just not stick with you, and
Yeah,
or what?
it's just one of those things where I enjoy it for what it is. I don't like have this huge emotional attachment to it. I just like being able to sit down and just watch stuff about games and hear about new
Mm-hmm.
games. I don't have this emotional connection to like one of the ones that I don't even remember if it's one that you're going to talk about. Is you mentioned like Snake showing up in Super Smash Bros. Like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't have this huge like, oh man, and then there was the trailer, and I don't honestly even remember this, and I know I watched that E3, and all of a sudden Snake came out of a helicopter and dropped in and kicked Mario in the face or
He
whatever.
came out. He came out of a box. He came out of a box.
That would make more sense. Oh, actually, I do remember that trailer now. Yeah, I totally
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah, it's the one that ends like it's just like a normal Smash Brothers thing. At the very end, like they do the codec call.
Yep, and then he popped. Yep, I do remember that. But to me, what I remember more, what sticks with me more, is I remember playing Super Smash Bros. And going, "Oh man, I'm playing as Snake right now." You know what I mean? That sticks with me. The whole trailer thing, not so much. Like I remember cool trailers, but there's no like E3 moments where I look back and go, "Oh my gosh, that changed everything," and "Oh my gosh, this was the coolest thing ever."
That's so funny to me because like the like I guess we're probably not even talk about all these moments. I don't know. I think you're probably like a good person who plays games then because you don't. Because to me, I always think that the game in my head is always going to be better than whatever finally comes out. So like this was so whenever I see like a really cool trailer, my imagination just goes like completely wild and bonkers. And when I actually get the game in my hands, I'm not actually as excited to play it as I am to think about before playing the game.
Really,
Yeah,
that's kind of messed up.
you know, like when I had Bloodborne in my hand, I was like, yeah,
Well, I
because
will
now
tell.
it's a
I did have that feeling for Bloodborne. I'm not gonna lie.
okay. Well, God dang it, this is different. But like when I buy a game, it's now a real thing, and it's not the game in my head, and it can only be more disappointing than the game in my head.
Oh, I got you. I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because like the Kingdom Hearts, because the one I did put down here, this is kind of cheating because this only happened like two E3s ago, and it really shouldn't still be that. But it really was one of the biggest E3 moments ever, and it actually like got my heart going. Like I like literally gasped was the Kingdom Hearts 3 and Final Fantasy 15 combo trailer.
Yeah.
Was because like this was like I had this like wave because I didn't play Nintendo games. I feel like a lot of people who play Nintendo, it's like they have like a wave of nostalgia anytime like a new Nintendo game comes out.
Yep.
But because I kind of grew up with like PlayStation consoles and they don't do that as much, I don't really have that like wave of nostalgia. But like when Kingdom Hearts 3 and the Final Fantasy 15 trailer, like I was like transported back to high school. And I was like that was back like that's when your hype levels are at like the absolute maximum and everything's amazing.
Yep.
And like these are games I've just been waiting for forever. And when I finally get to see like, okay, Kingdom Hearts 3 actually exists and that game that versus 13 is now Final Fantasy 15 like blew my mind. Like that was like I got a little emotional. I did honestly get a little emotional
Just
when that
picturing you
happened.
sitting on your couch crying all by yourself in a barely lit room.
I was in no, I was in college. Somebody else was in the room and he's like, "Why are you getting emotional?"
Which might be even worse. You don't
Yeah.
understand. Mickey is back.
It was really fun and like talking about how is this game in my head. They actually did release Kingdom Hearts 3 footage like I don't know a little bit later. It just wasn't very good. Like, did you ever see that? They actually have like Kingdom Hearts gameplay somewhere.
Yeah, I did. Wasn't it all like pre-rendered though, and it wasn't actually live?
Well, yeah, it wasn't live, but even for pre-rendered, it didn't look very good.
Yeah, I
So
remember
that's
everybody was real disappointed.
yeah, so that's what I'm kind of like this Kingdom Hearts 3 reveal. That's gonna come out. I'm actually a little nervous because I don't think it's gonna be as good. Like I said, it's gonna be a real thing. And it's like, oh well, this isn't the game that's in my head, the perfect,
Yeah.
unquestionable game in my head.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because, I mean, it's one of those things where I don't think Kingdom Hearts is necessarily going to be, like, the huge thing that. Well, I mean, it's going to be huge, but I just don't think it's going to be the amazing, crazy, perfect thing everybody's pictured. I just don't think that's possible.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Man, that Kingdom Hearts Final Fantasy 15 trailer, like that was probably the best ever. I think the other one I have on here is the Half Life 2 reveal. And now I'm thinking about it, it wasn't even at E3. I don't think it was. I think that was actually at a small. I think that was actually at GDC. But that was another one. The trailers they released for Half Life 2 were of areas that they never end up. You never actually go to.
Oh, like that. Like, yeah, this got cut somewhere, but at the time we thought it was going to be cool.
Yeah, like Ravenholm had like you could set traps. Like they showed Ravenholm where you could set traps and things like that. And that was like it was just mind blowing for its time. It was absolutely crazy. And when you actually did get to play Half Life 2, it wasn't that good looking. And there was a like when the beta got released, but not released, it got leaked. They showed those areas where it's kind of faked. Like they had a lot of
Yeah.
force perspective, and you could if you like turned to the wrong corner, there's just like empty space. Man, these are more like dis. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like these games, like the best conference moments to me are the ones that make my imagination just go crazy. And
Yeah, that
I don't
makes
know if we're
sense.
I don't know if we're gonna have that again. Hopefully,
Well, we'll see.
yeah. So I guess moving on, we're gonna start talking about each conference individually. So this is gonna be kind of a monster of a podcast.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff that we really are just kind of making up as we go and just hoping for. So take it all with a grain of salt.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think it's just fun to talk about. I mean, that's most of our podcast. It's not like we're coming from a place of like actually knowing shit. It's just fun to talk about stuff.
Fair point.
So first on our list is Square Enix. This is a weird one to me. I think Square Enix of all the third party conferences is the weirdest one to me because Square Enix is always like okay, like if a Microsoft conference like okay, let's bring out the head of Square Enix, or if it's a Sony conference like okay, let's bring out this guy at Square Enix. I think we looked it up and they actually did have their own conference in 2013.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years.
Yeah, but like to me, it's weird that they're having like a big conference because I would always expect them whatever game they're going to show here, like they're also going to want to show like Microsoft's presser or Sony's presser.
Yeah, because I think that's where they put the Final Fantasy 15 Kingdom Hearts 3 one, if I remember. It was at Sony's, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Well, and that's the thing, like with, and we're not going to specifically talk about a lot of these, but 2K and Activision, that's where a lot of their games go. Is just like the third-party support for Microsoft, for PlayStation, almost as time filler in those conferences. So it is a little weird that Square Enix actually has their own, because outside of a couple big names,
hmm
there's not a whole lot there, and it's kind of okay. How much can you fit here?
Yeah, and I feel like so okay. So the kind of the games that they're going to show probably are like well, first of all, like I guess just going back of what we were talking before is like Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts 3, and like you said, like these were big at Sony's press conference. So I think it's kind of weird that they're showing these. I mean, it makes sense that they're big enough that they can show these by themselves, but I think it's just a bit weird um, that they wouldn't be showing these at Sony or MS.
Yeah,
What else is here? Oh, I think that's kind of cool. It's like we haven't really seen any Edis games or Idis.
yeah.
I don't
However you
think.
say that thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Those have me pretty excited because I think the Kingdom Hearts 3 reveal is going to be like humongous. But like Deus Ex, Just Cause, Hitman is probably going to be there. Tomb Raider is going to be well, no, Tomb Raider is going to be Microsoft's
Yeah, Tomb
final
Raider will show
rated.
up because I think Microsoft's actually publishing that this time, so that'll for sure be at Microsoft.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's
So yeah,
their.
which one of these are you most excited about? Because I think we sort of know what Japanese side of Square Enix is doing, but we don't really know what um, Eidos is doing.
I mean, Deus Ex is up there. I think that game is huge to me. I love those games. I've always loved those games, so that one's big.
Hmm.
I'm curious about Just Cause 3. We talked about it a couple weeks ago when the first gameplay trailer came out. I've never played those,
Yeah.
so just the craziness of seeing that and seeing what it looks like on next gen and everything, I'm really interested to see what that looks like,
Hmm.
just to see more of it. But at the same point, I think that's coming from a perspective of I really should have played this game before, and now that I haven't, just everything about it looks cool because they've gotten the time in to kind of master this game. So that one's kind of interesting
Hmm.
to me. Hitman, I honestly, I'm going to be honest, I have played maybe a total of 5 hours worth of Hitman in my life.
Yeah, me neither. It's a game. It's a series that I always thought sounded really cool on paper, but like when I actually played it in person, it was just kind of like I don't know. Everything felt a little off. And I heard that Absolution did a lot to kind of streamline a lot of things. Like a lot of the control, like they like from what I've heard is Absolution had the best controls of the series and is the like best way to do things, but they linearized all the levels, so it kind of was pointless.
Oh, yeah, see, I mean, my mind, I am just like the coolest guy ever. Can walk in anywhere, just throw on a quick disguise, walk in, kill somebody, walk out. And maybe it's just I'm really bad at stealth games, so maybe
Yeah,
that plays into it. But just I've never been able to do that. I've played one or two of them, but I've just never been able to actually do that. So I
yeah.
don't know. I'm curious just because I'm sure it'll look really good. I'm sure that it'll have some really cool trailers to go with it. But I just, as a game on it in itself, I'm not too excited about it.
Yeah, I think it'll be kind of interesting if they take that. Like I said, I haven't played Absolution, but I heard that they actually had fixed like the problem that we kind of have is like the controls are just kind of weird.
Yeah,
They're really strange. So they kind of fix that and streamline them, quote unquote, in Absolution. But if they take that sort of like, okay, we're gonna make a control easier for people, but we're gonna put like the classic Hitman open world. I know for a long time, like they had released like maybe one concept art from the Hitman game. It was just this huge state building somewhere, and that was pretty much all we've seen of Hitman so far. And they said like, and I think that the thing they went along with the concept art was you'll be able to explore all of this.
that's kind of cool. I don't know. It's just I don't know, but to me, like, does open world make sense for Hitman? To me, it makes sense in a small confined space because that space you need to
Oh,
be able to do
that's what
what
I
you
mean.
want to.
It's
But
open level. It's not open world. I
oh, okay,
misspoke.
okay, there we go. That makes more sense.
Yeah. So they're gonna so like to me, it's kind of like what Hitman was always trying to be, but they couldn't just because of
Limitations or whatever.
yeah, there's limitations of hardware and stuff. But I don't know, just like being able to explore like a whole building and like do what Hitman has always like been on. Like to me, this is the opportunity for what Hitman is on paper, make that a reality just because of the tech.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, actually, a big bombshell announcement that I probably actually this will probably be at Sony's conference. We'll talk about that one later. Is a Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest to me is I think it's an okay series. Man, we are not we're not good with these Square Enix games. Um,
I mean, Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts we're good with, but the rest,
that's true. No.
eh.
Deus Ex,
Deus Ex, yeah.
Deus Ex. I play Just Cause and yeah, but some of the other one. Yeah, Dragon Quest is gonna be that. I don't. Do you play Dragon Quest games at
I
all or
have
no?
never played a Dragon Quest game.
Okay, they're pretty good. They've got their actually, if you're looking for like a very classic JRPG series, like and you've never played those, you should definitely get into those. But that would like I don't want to say like win the console war, but in Japan, like Dragon Quest
Oh
is
yeah, that'd be
huge.
huge. Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
big in Japan. Here, people go, "Oh, okay,
yeah. I feel
great."
like that there's some really diehard. I mean, the Dragon Quest is Final Fantasies to some people.
That's
It's
true.
not nearly as big as it is in Japan. But Dragon Quest, I feel, is going to sell like a ton of consoles in Japan if
Oh
that
yeah,
ever comes to
absolutely.
pass.
But I mean, Japan isn't where Sony's doing all right in Japan.
Hmm.
Let's be fair here.
That's true. Yeah, Sony's actually doing pretty well outside
Everywhere,
of like
but
everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that kind of wraps up the Square Enix press conference. Is there anything that you're kind of like super excited to see out of that one, or are you pretty much wrapped up?
Um, I mean, like you said, I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts. I don't know. I'm not as big into it as you. I liked it one a while ago. I should replay it, but
Hmm.
I'm just curious to see what it looks like. And with Disney owning a whole bunch more stuff now than
Yeah,
what it did, what was it, like 10 years ago or so now that Kingdom Hearts 2 was, just
somewhere around there. Yeah,
what kind of crazy stuff are they going to add in there? What's going to be new? What's going to be different more so than
yeah,
anything else? Just because there's some properties that they own now that I am really a big fan of. So I don't think they'd fit, and I'd be a little hesitant if they put them in there. But I'm
yeah,
just curious to see what that reveal looks like. What is it that they actually show off for Kingdom Hearts?
yeah. Actually, the one thing, last thing about Kingdom Hearts, the thing that the reason they had actually switched engines, it's actually gonna be Unreal 4. Um, the reason they switched engines was because they couldn't handle like their plans for Kingdom Hearts 3 was to change it so the shaders would be different for every world, so it would look more like that world when you went to it. So I'm really curious to see if they actually got that up and working. Like that to me would be like the biggest that would be the coolest thing if they showed like 4 or 5 different worlds and they all look vastly different.
That would be really interesting, and I mean that goes to kind of Disney's thing of you've got your computer animated stuff at this point, you've got your traditional animation, you've got live action franchises, you've got all those different things. So that could be really interesting to see how they do that.
Yeah, so that to me I think is actually they talk about the thing. It's actually I think they named it the Kingdom Shader. Like that will be really cool if they get it working. My worst fear though is they're gonna be like, and now with Disney Infinity, cross compatibility. Like I'm
No,
just
don't even go there.
it's a real possibility that
It's
scares the crap
very
out of me.
big, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I guess moving on to the next one. Ubisoft.
Yay.
Ubisoft. I like Ubisoft conferences. I actually like them a lot. I don't really like Ubisoft games that much, but I actually like Ubisoft
Why?
conferences. I think they're entertaining. I don't know.
That is true. I'll give them that.
Yeah, like I don't care. Like sometimes I don't care about the games they show, but I think they're really good. I don't know. I think with Aisha Tyler, I think sometimes she does like really weird stuff. Like, do you remember the hashtag Girlwood?
Yep, that was two or
Oh
three
my,
years ago now.
yeah, that was so bad. But I don't know. They kind of do a good balance between like this is the game. They do a really good job of showing the games.
That's true.
Whether or not
Well,
it's actually like totally true.
yeah, I was gonna say the games, quote unquote.
Mhm. In theory, they show gameplay footage, but like when I think about it, like they always do. They do show you what they're calling gameplay footage.
Yeah, that. Yeah,
And I mean, I mean, to be fair, like Watch Dogs was one of the best E3 announcements ever.
despite what it turned into.
Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly. But I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Like they do a good E3. Like
Yeah,
Division, like that Division reveal was like, oh my god, wow, this game looks amazing. So I think they do a good E3 show, and that's why I'm excited to see them.
that makes sense to me, I guess.
Yeah. So kind of going through the list right here. Um, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Why is that on our list?
Because it's gonna be there. They're gonna. Do you know? There is gonna be at least 10 minutes of that press conference showing off gameplay and showing off whatever new weird thing there is, and there's gonna be a 2 minute feature on the grappling hook.
Oh God. Oh,
It's gonna be there, and it's gonna be big because that's their big fall game.
yeah. I guess that's true. I don't know, man.
I just. I know neither of us. We talked about this, I think, last week. Neither of us are
Yeah.
excited about it, but I mean, let's be real. That's their moneymaker. So
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I don't think this will be their big thing, because they revealed it early. Like, I feel like if it was their big, like, boom, like their big moneymaker one, they would have not revealed. They
are
would
you
have
talking like
revealed it.
they're like their big end of show thing? Because
Well, no, no,
they're
no,
kind of
not that,
okay.
but just like, oh, did you see that game at E? Well, this as I described it, does kind of sound like they're big. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like they wouldn't have announced it early if it was going to be a huge part of their show. Like, I
But
think it will just be like, oh, here's Assassin's Creed.
we talked about this last week, and that is that would it get buried? We talked about that with Need for
That's
Speed, right?
true.
This was a very bland looking Assassin's Creed. And if Ubisoft knows that ahead of time, and they
Yeah.
get the first peek out there, and people are like, oh man, Assassin's Creed, and then they go to E3 and they show off, okay, here's some gameplay of it. it doesn't need to perform as well. It doesn't need to get that big draw because it's already had that initial impression.
Yeah, but that makes me think that if they felt comfortable enough doing that, that they have something bigger to show.
Well, I mean, it's Ubisoft, so you know they're going to end on something huge.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's going to be some new IP or some gorgeous looking thing that's, whatever, whether it's something we've never heard of or whatever at the end.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what they're kind of famous for. But they're going to show the Division. They're going to show the new Rainbow Six. And I think Rainbow Six also has a fall release. So I think that'll get some time. To me, all these games are things that we know. All these games are things that are not necessarily going to be that eye-popping thing.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Because like right now, honestly, like this is our list, listeners. Is our Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Siege, The Division. Yeah, it's obviously going to be there. Um, yeah, I guess the last thing we have here is little games, and like we talked about. I mean, we've talked about Ubisoft doing this before with like Grow Home and
Child of Light.
Child of Light and all those. I'm hoping that like I feel like they're gonna like there are two big things that are gonna come out. Ubisoft is gonna be whatever their new little game is, whether or not it's like a crazy Far Cry 4 expansion, like maybe Blood Dragon 2 or something like that, which would be pretty cool.
Ooh.
Or I don't know, or whatever the next Child of Light is.
New Blood Dragon would make my E3 completely.
Really?
I did not even think about that. There was Far Cry 4, which means there should be a Blood Dragon
Yeah.
2, which is a thing that's been... Ooh.
Yeah.
This just got much more... I'm much more excited for this now.
I actually think, as I say, Blood Dragon 2, I think that actually got deconfirmed a while back.
I believe it did. I think there was like some fake video. I think it was like a fake thing, but you never know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I think whatever the next Child of Light is probably gonna be the most interesting thing, and of course, whatever the Ubisoft bomb drop. The thing that sucks for Ubisoft though, like everybody's kind of expecting a bomb drop
Yep.
at the end, and I think everybody's also expecting it to not look that good when it's finally released.
Yeah. What I could, and this is maybe just like the weird person in me, is like, if I was them, I would save that little game and have that be the last thing to go out on, like, Grow Home 2.
No, yes, you are a weird person for. No, see that would make sense for like gamers,
Yeah.
quote people who play games. I'm not even gonna say gamers. Every time I say gamers, I'm gonna say no. People who play games. I think that makes sense for that, but it does not make sense for shareholders who are also watching.
Fair point.
What are we putting our money into again? Child of Light 2. What's Child of Light 1?
Amazing.
Yeah. So I think Ubisoft is gonna be cool. Honestly, I think at the end of the day, just for whatever their next little game is,
Yeah.
and whatever their bomb dropping end of announcement one is.
Absolutely.
So Bethesda,
First
Beth-
time.
yeah, Bethesda's gonna be cool.
They've got stuff like crazy. They have big things like crazy. I don't think they have a lot of stuff, but I think they've got a lot of big things.
I honestly think just Doom, Fallout 4, and honestly, they could just do Doom and Fallout 4, and they should be just fine.
Oh yeah, if they did a half-hour Doom gameplay, half-hour Fallout 4 gameplay, there are people who go best conference in history.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I honestly like they wouldn't have to say anything. They
Mhm.
would just have a guy come out, bring up the lights. Okay, we're gonna bring out so and so. He comes out, grabs a controller, darken the lights, and then just a half hour of whatever.
Yep. Not even that. I don't even think you need to have a guy announce it. I think you just go, like, have some big like boom, and then you just see a dude standing on the stage. There's Doom. He dies, kills it. He kills the boss, walks off stage. Everybody claps. Next guy walks on stage. Boom! Fallout 4. He plays, kills the boss, walks off stage.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just pops up on the screen.
Yeah.
Standing ovation.
I was actually thinking about this as I'm sitting here kind of looking at our list because I think Dishonored also might be there.
Yeah, I think in some way, whether it's a remaster or a Dishonored 2.
Yeah, I didn't play that game. I actually play that game.
You have it. It's a Plus game. Go play it. It's awesome.
But on my PS3. No, I know. At the very least, like, even though I haven't played this game, I like the idea of it. Just everything I've seen about it, just it looks weird, and I like that it's a super popular game that looks sort of weird.
Yeah, it is very weird. It is definitely not your standard AAA huge game, which is cool. And I think Bethesda does a good job of highlighting some things that are slightly outside the norm.
Yeah, actually, you have the other thing in here that we actually haven't. Machine Gun Games have got to be working on something.
Well, they just finished up the Old Blood. That just came out like a month ago.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that, but I don't think they didn't have to dedicate their entire team to doing the Old Blood.
But I
because
mean,
that's
but
yeah.
even then, the New Order only came out what in like November or something last year. I don't know.
Oh, is it really that new? I'm not used to playing new games anymore.
It was mid to late last year. It was at the earliest. It was a summer last year, I think. Maybe I'm a bit off, but it definitely. I don't think. I'm sure they're working on something, but I don't feel like they'd have much other than like a CG trailer to show off what they're doing.
I would be fine with like a glowing logo of anything really. Like if it's a glowing Quake logo, like
Ooh.
yeah, yeah, Machine Gun Games doing Quake would be pretty ballin'.
Can I just point out that that would make Bethesda's conference Doom, Fallout, Dishonored would be a pretty low point there, and then Quake.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like Dishonored would be the low point. Like that. Yeah, this conference is gonna be amazing.
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way people aren't going to be talking about this by the time they're done. There's a reason this is the first time they're doing it, and
Hmm.
that's because they know we have the games that everybody is looking forward to this year.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool too that we all sort of have an idea of what Bethesda's doing. So they're just gonna walk in confidently and just show you it's just there. Although what is weird is like this is like E3, so it's the time to announce new games. And I mean Fallout 4 and Doom would be new games, but they're not like new IPs. So I
Yeah,
think like a new Bethesda IP, like they might also have that as well. So I think that'd be kind of cool.
yeah, there could be something in there because I mean, really, all Bethesda's known for at this point is churning out the same 5 or 6 big name franchises. So I mean, it's always nice to throw a new one in there. Dishonored was 3 or 4 years ago, so I mean, I can see him
Hmm.
trying something new.
Yeah, just like just this is the beginning of the generation, so this is like the time to start new IPs or
Yeah,
be really safe and just make sequels for all your old ones.
it's always the way to go. Nothing wrong with
Yeah.
more and more sequels. Get that money.
Yeah, well, it's like a safe bet. I don't know. I don't blame people for making so many sequels just because like games cost so much to make now.
Oh yeah. Speaking of sequels,
What are we going on to next?
that would be EA,
I
the king of all sequels.
I don't know, man. Like
Looking
I
at this list that we have in front of us, that we'll get to in a second, I
yeah.
see movie game, sequel, sequel, sports, movie game, sequel,
New
racing game.
IP. There's a new IP in
Yeah,
there.
that's true. But EA is the king of sequels.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I think we might have talked about this a little bit, but EA really hasn't shown any like true next gen games. So I honestly think this EA presser is going to be freaking bonkers. Like when it comes to, oh my god, did you see that game? It looks crazy.
I agree wholeheartedly, and we'll get to this at the end, but this is the conference that's going to be the best one there.
That's ridiculous, but we'll get.
No, it is. It is.
No, that's ridiculous because you have insane bias for Star Wars.
That's true, but we didn't say in terms. We said for us. For
Oh, okay, that's
me,
that's true. That's true.
let's be
All
real
right.
here. They're going to be talking about Star Wars for about 25 minutes.
True. Yeah, I think we should refer back to what EA was doing last
Yeah,
time.
so EA last year did not have a stellar conference.
No, they didn't. They barely had a conference. It was just they just had they had proof of concept videos.
Yep.
Like here's a proof of concept for Mirror's Edge, and then they showed. It was all like it was a gray box. It was gray box game design, which is like you just basically test out like very specific things in a very gray box.
Yeah, and I don't remember what game it was, but there was one game where instead of even showing a trailer, they just like showed the developers like walking around the office talking about how they're working on it.
That you know what? As you said that, like I'm thinking of like two or three games.
Yeah, I think that was there was at least one that was like that, and a
I
lot of it
think
was like
that might have been
developers
Star
talking.
Wars. I think that was Star
I think
Wars.
that sounds right.
Yeah, because they did announce Battlefront last E3. It
Yeah,
was just that one trailer, where it's like a guy walking through this. You were like a first person through the snow,
yep,
and you saw pew pewing, and there's like Battlefront.
yep.
Yeah, so I guess this is going to be the big thing, and probably the thing we're only going to talk about is Star Wars.
There's some other really big stuff here, but
I
Star
think
Wars is big.
Star Wars is going to be the biggest. I mean, besides Battlefront, um, I guess Visceral is working on one.
Yes, they are.
Is Visceral is that the one Anna Heading is working on? Amy Henning is working on.
I believe so. Yes, I don't remember. I know she's there, but I don't remember if she. I believe she went to the Star Wars project, but I'm not sure. But
No, she's on the Star Wars project. I just don't know if
oh, then
she's
it's
on.
definitely the visceral one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that one to me, like Battlefront, I think will be cool.
Hmm.
But I think that the Visceral or Amy Hennig one is going to be like absolutely freaking crazy. Wait, is it really Visceral though? Because Visceral's what just finished. Excuse me, just finished up Hardline.
Yeah, but that was Hardline came out like 4 or 5 months ago, and that got pushed a ways. So
That's true. Actually, yeah, they had that quote unquote finish actually a while ago. That kept getting like slightly delayed, so I'm sure it was like content complete for a long time.
yeah, they've been. I don't know how long they've been working on this, but this was announced. I believe it was announced last year that that was going to be their next game was Star Wars.
Hmm.
I don't remember if it was in the last E3 or if it was some other point, but they're working on something Star Wars related, which I can't even begin to imagine how awesome that's going to be.
Yeah, and the thing that's kind of interesting is like I'm wondering how they're going to separate it from because they got Mass Effect, so it's probably not going to be an RPG because it would be weird to have like the
Yeah,
Star Wars RPG because there's a few Star Wars RPGs currently as well. They got what's the Galaxies one?
the
No,
MMO.
yeah, they got KOTOR, the MMO KOTOR.
Yeah, Old Republic, but I think
Well,
that's got to be on its way. I think that's on its way out.
I don't know,
I don't keep
maybe.
track of MMOs, but I'm just saying right now,
Mm-hmm.
BioWare is working on Mass Effect 4,
Mm-hmm.
but EA owns or has all the licenses to Star Wars, and they own BioWare now. This would be just a great time for an official, a true, actual Knights of the Old Republic 3.
They're
I'm just
not
gonna
doing.
throw that
They're
out
not
there.
doing that.
This is
Stop
the
saying
right
that. You
time
know they're
for
not
it.
going. They're not going to do that. There's no way, especially because they don't want to have like Mass Effect going up against KOTOR.
They don't, but I do. This is all
You
about
know,
me.
they could do that maybe after whatever Mass Effect 4 is.
Yeah, I could see that being like their next game or something, but I don't know. I just want to see it. But yeah, I mean, between Star Wars and then Mass Effect 4 is the other real big one that they're going to have here. And if anything's going to dwarf the Star Wars announcements, it would be the Mass Effect 4 one, just because that's something that I think people have been waiting for a long time.
I don't why do people care about Mass Effect 4? Because I okay before you go like crazy, like that story to me is over.
I agree wholeheartedly, but I think it's just one of those people enjoy. Like, I mean, it's a enjoyable game, so I think people just want more stories. I don't know. I'm kind of that same way. Like, I like the idea of a trilogy to me.
Yeah.
And maybe again, going back to me being a giant Star Wars fan for forever, I like the idea of like one cohesive story. The Mass Effect story to me is over. There's nowhere else for that to go. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm interested just to see what it is, just to see, okay, maybe they're starting a whole new idea in this. I don't want to see Commander Shepard again. His story's done.
Oh
Move
no,
on.
they have, to be fair, they have said that. I think like the only info we have about the new Mass Effect is like set like light years away from whatever the Mass Effect we know.
See, and I'm fine with that because then you're not infringing on the previous trilogy. You're making something new. It's essentially a new story in a familiar universe. I'm fine with that concept, but
Yeah, but, I mean, do you care? Like, are you going to be like excited for Mass Effect 4 personally?
I don't know. That's one where it'll be. That's one that I'm curious just to see my own reaction when that pops up.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Like, a part of me in my mind's going like, yeah, I'd totally play another Mass Effect, but the other part of me is going, yeah, but I don't know if I'm excited about it.
Yeah. That'd be like, oh, I'll pick that up eventually kind of game.
Yeah, I'll follow that and hopefully be excited about it, but I don't know. But
I feel like in order to get me excited about Mass Effect 4, they'd have to do something really different than Mass Effect. But at that point, why even bother calling it Mass Effect?
yeah, when you're starting a new story, new protagonist, new everything, and
Yeah.
then but we're gonna keep calling. Well, it works for Call of Duty.
True.
Mass Effect 7, Black Ops Warfare in the light years ahead.
Dude, okay, to be fair, like a Black Ops Mass Effect would be kind of cool.
Yeah, probably.
I-
Other than
yeah,
that, though, those two big ones. I mean, they're gonna have a couple little games. They're gonna have Mirror's Edge, which I think will be big. I loved
dude,
the
that
first Mirror's Edge.
that game I'm more excited than anything else at EA's.
Really, Mirror's Edge.
Easily, hands down.
Did you play that? You played the first one?
Yeah, I did a lot of the time trials too. Like
Okay.
I tried to 3-star all the time trials. I love that game.
That was a really weird game, and I can't believe it's getting a sequel, but I'm excited about it.
No, it shouldn't. It didn't sell very well. That was a game though that was kind of like you felt like it had a lot of heart to it. I think
Yeah. Somebody put the time and effort, and somebody really wanted to make that game.
Yeah. I think it's kind of cool they're getting a second chance. It's kind of surprising because Mirror's Edge came out with Dead Space, Brutal Legend.
New Brutal Legend would make me really happy.
New Brutal Legend is never happening. I can't tell you how much that's not happening.
It's very not happening, but man, do I wish it was.
Yeah. But it kind of came at that point when like EA was doing a bunch of new IPs,
Yeah.
and then EA lost a lot of money, and then EA went back to being old EA with like just making safe sequels and stuff,
Yep.
and Dead Space 3.
Yep.
Oh man, Dead Space 3. Um, but yeah, just real quick, but I guess final thing back to the visceral Star Wars. Like this is the like, thing we don't really know about. If Visceral is allowed to do like have that same sort of creativity they had with Dead Space 1,
Oh
um,
man, it's gonna be
and that
so good.
refinement with Dead Space 2, I wouldn't say it was like a super creative sequel, but it was like definitely like
It was. It took everything and not necessarily perfected it, but came close to it.
yeah. I think at the very least like the mechanics of that game were like
Dead on.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
No,
I hope
that's gonna be the game.
Yeah, yeah, because I feel like EA's kind of like made them make Dead Space 3 and kind of made them make,
Hardline.
Hardline. Yeah, from what I understand too, a lot of the old school visual guys actually aren't there anymore.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
That's always one of
And
those weird things.
yeah, speaking of, and then also Criterion, who's also not really
Yeah,
Criterion.
they're all gone.
Yeah, but they have that new game, which is a proof of concept last time,
Yeah.
which just seemed like extreme sports game.
Yeah. And speaking of sports, they're gonna have all the new sports games, which none of you
Awesome.
probably care about, but
No, not at all.
shut up. They're gonna do something cool with those as they always do, and I'm always excited to see whatever new features they're throwing in there. And that's part of the reason why I'm excited about EA, because those are games I know I'm gonna buy. And the one thing with sports games is, as much as all of you want to say they're just roster updates, there are slight changes with them, and it's always interesting to me to see every single year what that
Hmm.
new slight change is, whether it's in hockey a new physics engine or whatever it is. I'm always excited for that, so I'm pumped for sports games too.
Do you know what would make me super excited? If out there they showed like the EA Sports logo and then it just went big. Like that
Oh,
I would lose my shit. Like
that
that
would
would
be
make me excited.
insane.
That would make me excited about EA Sports games. If until they bring back something similar. But it's kind of weird they sort of stopped those games altogether.
I mean, they tried a couple years ago. They had NBA Jam and NFL Blitz, and they redid those.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
But I don't think either one sold well. Granted, they weren't necessarily put together very well either.
No, and they were pretty small games.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, if they brought back like it was weird. They kind of killed the point of EA big license with like the latest SSX. Like
Yeah.
they made it too realistic. I think they even NBA Street games sort of became like they became less goofy.
Yeah, and much more like, you're going to be the greatest street baller ever, and you're going to do super
Yeah.
street ball things, like super serious flow.
Yeah, and don't you remember they also had like a bunch of street games? Like they had NFL Street. They
Yep.
had
NFL Street was great. FIFA Street was good too. I owned all those games.
yeah. Well, I think you're one of few, which is why we don't have it anymore.
I played the heck out of NFL Street. I used to love that game.
But yeah. Like I kind of wish they would sort of go back to that because I think they probably going to do that their NBA franchise because they're just losing so hard. They're not going to catch up to NBA 2K
They need to do
anytime soon.
something to change the NBA thing up.
Yeah, so I could honestly see them just because of the fact that they're not doing very well with their sports games.
You need to be specific. Madden, NHL, and FIFA are never gonna die. Let's be real.
Okay, I guess that's true.
You can
But if it
golf. Yeah, golf. Their golf games are gone. Those are bad.
are they bad? I haven't played one of their golf
I haven't
games
played one in a
forever.
while. They used to be bad. Well, it's no longer Tiger Woods either, so they dropped that.
That's Tiger Woods' fault. That's not EA's.
That's fair point.
Actually, I am super excited for that new golf game. Like really excited for it.
Why?
Yeah, I'm more excited. Like honestly, as I'm looking at this list, the two games I'm most excited for is Mirror's Edge and that new golf game. Um, because from like the first trailer they revealed, like they're gonna be goofy with it.
Uh,
Like,
Outlaw golf.
well, no, not like that goofy. Oh God, Outlaw Golf. There's been plenty of good goofy sports games that aren't Outlaw Golf.
Yeah.
But no, like they showed that they're gonna like. I think the one they did show was a ship. Like they did a battlefield map.
Oh yeah. Yep. I saw that.
But now that I'm thinking, it's like, oh my God, how cool would it be to golf on Hoth, or
Yeah.
have like a bouncing around Mirror's Edge or something like that. So I'm just excited because I think they're gonna have a goofy golf game. But I don't know. I feel kind of bad because I only like the EA big games pretty much because they're not sports games.
Yeah. Well, hey.
Yeah. Ooh. So we're gonna move on to we're gonna start getting the big three.
Woo. The good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, the good stuff. Not the other stuff was bad. It's just I think now it's more important than ever to have exclusives.
Yep.
So it's going to be a freaking bloodbath, which is good because I think I always think I don't think exclusives are the best game, but I think that they there's so much riding on them that they have to be good.
Yeah, they're the most important game in
Yeah,
terms of
to that
for a
company.
company. That's the game that
Yeah,
needs to sell. You
yeah,
can be the best selling Call of Duty console, but you need to be the best selling Halo console, and you need to best you need to
yeah,
have that.
yeah, exactly. So so this so we're going to talk about Microsoft first, and I think Microsoft is actually going to be. I think this is going to be the best conference easily.
See, I don't see much here.
Outside of the the Halos, the Forzas, Tomb Raider, Gears. Well, actually, as I'm going through this, are actually quite a bit.
Yeah, there's a lot that we know that they have. Now, again, we don't know if they're gonna. This is gonna be the focal point, but there's a lot that we already know. I mean, Halo 5 is gonna have a huge presence. That's gonna be their. That's gonna be their open. They're gonna open with Halo 5, and they're gonna have gameplay, and they're gonna have campaign reveals. They're gonna have all that
Hmm.
stuff for the first chunk. And they're gonna have be pumping Tomb Raider because that's their huge thing this year, especially with
Yeah.
Uncharted moved out.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, Tomb Raider's just gonna be sitting out there by itself. Oh, it's not gonna have like any.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I mean that's the thing. If you think about the two biggest games probably this holiday season, as of what we know right now, it's Halo 5 and probably Tomb Raider 2.
Yeah. Yeah. That is. Well, I didn't think about that at all.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing is I feel like if Microsoft just goes pretty much just straight gameplay for those two for a good chunk of their conference, that's going to win them this holiday season.
Yeah, and if they have Gears thrown in there as well, damn.
Yeah, I mean, and there's rumors of a Gears remaster that's been around for forever, so that could possibly get announced because who's it? It's Black Tusk, right? That's working on the new Gears.
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess they wouldn't be working on. They wouldn't necessarily be working on the Gears remaster then.
No, I'm assuming they're working on Gears. Well, it'd essentially be Gears 5 after Judgment, but I would be assuming that they're working on that, and then the remaster could come out almost as like a holdover, like a oh man, remember how great Gears was, and then next
Hmm.
year get that full Gears release. So I could easily see him announcing the Gears remaster collection, and having that be available,
Oh, like yeah,
this
that
year
like
too.
that's yeah, like we'll do Gears remastered this year, and then next year, and then well next year we'll have, and then they're gonna show like the new Gears.
Yeah, essentially what they did with Halo last year. Halo last November was the Master Chief Collection.
Oh yeah,
This
yeah.
year's Halo 5, essentially that same idea.
Oh, that makes too much sense. Yeah, that'd be really smart.
Yeah, I should work for one of these companies.
Oh yeah, because they don't have enough people yelling at them what they should be doing.
Yeah,
If we
but
look behind the scenes, I'm sure it's radically different than what we think.
but I'm really excited for the new Gears just because it's a new company, it's a new team that's working on it, and that's always interesting to me to see what they can do with it. So I don't know if that's going to be the best game, but that's a game that I'm definitely really interested in seeing. And I used to love Gears. I was a big 360 guy for a long time between Halo and Gears. That was what I did.
Yeah, do you think any of these games like that we've talked about so far would ever push you over the edge to like, get an Xbox One?
Um, See, that's the thing for me is there's no game like in my mind. I'm just building my back catalog of when I finally break down and get this, and like I
Hmm.
think it's going to be for me. It's just going to be when that list gets long enough. Because right
Yeah.
now that list
Okay.
is essentially Sunset Overdrive, and that's where my list stops.
I'm trying to correct you, and I'm like, yeah. That one I was like in Ori and the Blind Forest, but I can probably get that for PC eventually. So
Yeah, and I mean Master Chief Collection is up there just because I want to have it, but it's not something I need to have all those games already. But
yeah,
that's up there too. But again, when it's Sunset Overdrive, Halo 5, Tomb Raider 2, Gears, and that list starts getting longer. That's when I'm going to finally go out and actually buy it.
oh, okay, I got you. So there's nothing that's gonna make you buy now. You're just waiting for just a backlog
Essentially,
to
yeah.
fill.
Essentially enough to know that I am not buying this to play Halo, which there's a fair chance that might actually end up happening. So,
Yeah, that's true because you'll have the Master Chief, Halo 4, and Halo 5 at that point.
oh yeah,
Um, actually, the thing I'm most excited about is not the stuff that we sort of know is coming, but the stuff we don't know. Scalebound.
yeah.
Scalebound is gonna be crazy.
They have a lot of like half-announced, rumored stuff going into this year, which is curious because that doesn't happen too often with Microsoft. I feel like they're normally a pretty known
Yeah.
set of games.
So yeah, I think Scalebound to me, oof,
That could be big.
that is going to be big because I that's a platinum game, but apparently Microsoft gave them a ton of money and they're co-developing it with Microsoft.
I'm curious though, because I know it's not supposed to be their traditional. I mean, they're really known for their just kind of their action beat 'em up, hack 'em slash type games. So
Hmm.
I'm curious to see what they do with this because it's not that style of game from what I've heard.
No, it is. It is sort of like they say it's going to have like an action base, but there's going to be whatever the involvement with dragons is. They haven't really talked about like at all.
Yeah,
Um, but I think that's just the coolest thing about this. This is probably the first time we're going to see a big budget platinum game.
that's true.
Actually, no, this will be the second one. Bayonetta 2, I'd say was like this was like a big budget one.
Do you think that was? I
Um,
don't know if that was really big budget. I think it was highly produced, but I don't know if that would be considered big budget.
they're definitely getting bigger at the very
Yeah,
least. So like I don't know, just because of Bayonetta 2, which like I haven't played it yet, but I've just heard it's like one of the just amazing game. So whatever they're building off of that, plus millions of extra dollars is going to be crazy.
that's true.
So like that is like probably one of my top games that I'm like really going to closely watch. And actually, the other one is Crackdown. So there actually is sort of footage of Crackdown, kind of. The only footage that we have of Crackdown is a gameplay test video that was from a Microsoft event a while back. Did you see that by any chance, or no? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
It had to do with network-based physics.
Oh,
Uh,
yes, I did.
yeah. So the what little gameplay footage they showed was just a sort of we might link to it in the description. But what it was they're going to do something where they're going to offload all the physics calculations to a network. So you'll have to be online. But this allows for really intense physics calculations. The fact where you could take down an entire building, and they actually did show a little bit of this where they showed like a building just being completely destroyed, crumbling all the way to the ground, and running at a solid frame rate. And
Yeah,
I'm like and that building that they showed shows up in the Crackdown trailer. So I think that was Crackdown. So I think this is going to be like the moment we see what they're Microsoft has always talked about like, oh, we're going to use the network to do crazy things, the cloud and whatever else. I think Crackdown is going to be their put down or shut up sort of thing, where it's going to be like, this is what we were talking about.
yeah. I don't know. I played the first Crackdown, and I mean it's a good game, but I don't know. There's so many open world games out there, and there's so many games in my mind that do open world better that
Yeah.
I can't get excited about a Crackdown game. I can't. I never played Crackdown 2, but the first one is okay. But I mean, I'd rather sit there and do Just Cause 3, or I'd rather sit there and play Saints
Yeah.
Row 4. Those open world games that to me have more of a thing than just, oh, you're just a cop in a future city.
Well, I mean, if you think about like those games, both, especially the two games you just mentioned, like they built off of Crackdown.
Very true.
But
Yeah. I mean,
I guess
the first Crackdown was a very solid game that had a lot of influence as to what's going on now in terms of open world.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like I think that like what was that other physics based like that Red Faction Gorilla?
Yep.
Like I feel like this is going to be Red Faction Gorilla to like the nth degree. Like this is where we're going to see like just I don't think it's interesting because it's Crackdown. I think it's more interesting because of the tech that could potentially be behind it.
That's true. I could see that.
So I think that's why I'm excited. And Battletoads is going to be there. I don't no idea what Battletoads is going to look like.
Yeah. That's one of those things that people are excited about, and all I can think in the back of my mind is it's going to be so much worse than what you're picturing.
Yeah, or even like I don't even know like what would you be, but even if they did like straight, it still would be like an okay game. I have no idea.
Yeah,
Because I don't think they could make this a huge game.
not at all.
So this could be their. I think Battletoads has the best chance of their play it now sort of thing,
Yeah, for if Microsoft's going to go that way.
or maybe like a Halo 5 beta or something like that.
Yeah, like an open beta as opposed to just the more closed off one that they had before.
Yeah.
I don't know. The
Uh,
only other thing I'm interested in here is Rare, but I mean, I don't know. With
Ukulele.
yeah, with that out there, I don't whatever they show, I kind of feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Cuz
Yeah. I think we talked about a little bit about that before. Yeah.
it's
It's
everybody's just thinking, well, it's not ukulele.
yeah. Pretty much. It could look better than Ukulele. Whatever they have to show though.
That's
Because
true. That would be their
Ukulele right
one
now.
saving grace.
Yeah. Yeah. Ukulele right now is like way behind.
Yeah.
So I think it's possible that if they've been working on a Banjo Kazooie for like a year now, it could look pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, it's true.
Uh, and real quick, I'm just gonna go over this super fast. If you thought MS was buying Silent Hills, you're crazy.
You,
Actually, the craziest part of that rumor was they're like Silent Hills was 80% complete. No, it was
yeah.
not. It wasn't even close
Well,
to
in
80%.
for billions of dollars.
Oh,
Like,
is it?
yeah, it was like I believe it was like for multiple billions, and like if you look at how much they paid for Minecraft, like,
Silent Hills is definitely up there with both Minecraft and
and
money, I'm
yeah,
sure.
no, that was not happening. I mean,
Good lord.
I could see somebody buying that. Somebody will buy that from Konami, but I don't think it.
Hmm.
You're not going to be able to buy that game. I don't think.
No, I don't know. I'm actually. This is sound kind of weird, but I'm kind of hoping it goes to Sony just because of the history with the console.
Yeah, I mean,
And
and again, that's where you played it, so that's where it has that feeling for you.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I guess MS could do just as good a job with Silent Hills as anybody else. Um, yeah, but I don't know. Maybe just give something for Sony Japan to do.
Yeah,
All right. So moving on to the next one. Nintendo doing their weird treehouse stuff.
yeah, they're E3, but not in a big E3 way.
Yeah.
Nintendo's little E3 thing,
Yeah. This is just gonna be like just a ton of gameplay.
and that's why I love Nintendo's press conferences.
Yeah. So which one of these games, like, I'm just sitting here, like, which one are you like? Oh my god, I need to see that.
In terms of stuff that we know we're gonna see, I would say Star Fox, just because I'm really curious. Because what we saw last year was not good.
No.
So with that being something that's coming in the next 6 months, that needs to look really good. So I'm curious to see what Star Fox ultimately looks like. At this
Mhm.
point, I think Yoshi's Woolly World is pretty much a known commodity. We know what that is. Mario Maker, I have such a small interest in that. I mean, could be whatever.
Yeah, and I think Xenoblade Chronicles X, like, I think that's already out in Japan. Like, we've
It
seen
is,
it.
yes. Yep.
So we've already seen that. So I don't know. I think Nintendo's just gonna. I don't know. They did show Splatoon last time. I think to me what's more interesting is what they haven't shown rather than what they will show, because all this stuff here, like Yoshi's Woolly World, Mario Maker, Xenoblade, Fatal Frame. Fatal Frame I think is actually already out in Japan. Zelda's not going to be there, and
Yep.
then Fire Emblem X Shin Megami Tensei. So I don't know. I'm not too excited for Nintendo, unless yeah.
I
What are
mean,
your thoughts?
there's a couple things that I mean they could very easily do to get there. I mean, that is not a large set of games, and they've got some people that you know are working on things that aren't on there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always the new Mario that you know is going to come out because Mario Maker can't be their big Mario game for the year. That's not what that's going to be.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about that.
I mean, so there's got to be. I mean, there's been rumors of new 3D Mario, like actually going back to 3D platform style Mario. So I could see that showing up in some form. But
hmm
I don't know. And
Yeah.
again, the thing with Nintendo is they don't show concepts. They don't show here's this 3 years from now. They show here's what's coming in the next 2 to 12
Year.
months.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean
That's what.
that's what I like about them is you're going to see some new stuff.
But that's also what I don't like about them. It's it makes sense for them to show games that are just about finished, but like to me, that E3, like, oh my god, what's this game going to look like in the future? Like it kind of loses that luster.
See, and again, I think that goes back to the difference between me and you, and me getting excited to actually play the game and you being excited for the announcement. I'm excited
Yeah.
when I see Nintendo stuff because I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to play. That's awesome. I'm not like, oh, great, yeah, that looked pretty. Man, that's not what that game is, but that was a pretty trailer.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can see that. I just feel like whenever they see long gameplay, like half-hour long gameplay, I always feel like, oh, I need to have this in my hands to see if I like it.
True.
You know what I mean? While when I see like a crazy trailer that kind of shows like snippets of gameplay and like little bits and pieces, then I'm just like, I can't wait to get my hands on this. Rather than like whenever I see like a Nintendo conference, they see it's like probably will get my hands on like the
Yeah.
Splatoon thing. Like Splatoon is not a good game to look at.
No, you need to play that game.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. That's what I feel like a lot of Nintendo games are. It's like you just have to play them.
Yeah, because it's got that fun factor. It's not this is gorgeous, this has this really emotional story. This is just fun. Go have
Yeah.
fun. Granted, the one game that I think that could show up, and you were doubting me before, is there could be a new Metroid Prime, and
There's not going to be a new Metroid.
there could be.
There's not going to be a new Metroid.
Retro Studios has said they're working on a new engine, and that's who
Yeah,
did the
it's not-
original trilogy, and they haven't done anything since the Donkey Kong that came out last February.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
gives,
I think Retro will have a game. I'm not saying Retro won't have a game.
but it'll be Metroid Prime.
It's not gonna be Metroid. It would. I will say. Okay, I will say. I'll put like a bet down here. It's not gonna be Metroid Prime. I will say it might be Metroid. It's not gonna be Metroid Prime 4.
Okay, I could see that. Retro will have something Metroid.
Yeah,
And
I think
because they gave it to, who was it? I think it was Team Ninja that did Other M, and that was just a
bad.
pile of mess. So
Hmm.
I think Retro will have something Metroid.
Yeah, I just don't. I just don't know what they're gonna do with Metroid. Like, are they just gonna have like a really big 2D Metroid? I could actually see them doing that more than Metroid Prime because
No, because that's what they tried with Other M. And it
yeah,
didn't
but I'm
work.
saying, but
Nobody
Metro,
liked
but
it.
I'm saying like Retro just did like probably arguably like one of the best platformers ever. So I think they're still like primed to do a really good platformer.
But nobody wants Metroid as a platformer. Like, even
I
if you
don't
go
think
back
that's
to the
true at
old
all.
2D games, even if you go back to the old 2D games, those aren't platformers.
Well, not platform. I'm just saying. I don't mean platform. I just mean like 2D.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, yeah. 2D style game.
Yeah. Well, 2D gameplay, not necessarily 2D art style.
2.5, yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So I could see that. I just don't see it because I don't think Metroid Prime 3 sold at all.
Yeah, but it's one of those. It's again, it's got that like nostalgia factor where people, I mean, go back and think, oh man, Metroid Prime, because the GameCube, that game sold a ton for GameCube. I
Hmm.
think part of the issue with the Wii was you had such a casual audience on the Wii that comparatively it didn't sell well just because that wasn't the type of game that the Wii was marketed towards. I feel like the audience the Wii U has at this point is
Hmm.
the same type of audience the GameCube had when Metroid Prime came out.
That's true. I don't know. I actually don't know if that Wii U has a lot of kids have their hands on it, or it's just like people going amiibo crazy.
Yeah, and that's why I think now could be a time to bring back Metroid Prime because those are the people who bought into it years ago.
Yeah, I still don't think it's Metroid Prime. I think it's gonna be. I will say I think it's probably Metroid.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're working on Star Fox. I think about it. We could see a retro Star Fox actually.
Yeah, but Star Fox is already. What's his name's already doing that? I should know his name.
What's his name? Miyamoto.
Yeah, you know that big fancy guy. You know that guy who's like the most famous video game guy in the history? I should probably know his name.
Yeah.
I mean, but if he's already working on Star Fox, they're not going to have him put out a Star Fox this year and Retro put out one next year.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I just think that is the. I think I don't know. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. I think retro. I think retro is. They're just going to do. They're gonna. I think they're gonna do Donkey Kong. Whatever they did with Donkey Kong with whatever with a new franchise.
I can see that.
And I don't think it'll be Metroid. I think it'll be like another one that we're not expecting.
Nope, it'll be
Um,
Metroid.
okay, so the final one, which I am, I'm most excited about, just because I like Sony. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm not the most excited about this conference. It's the one that I'm most,
It's
it
most
has
relevant.
most relevant. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be the best conference, but they still got some interesting stuff. Um, so I don't know what on this list makes you go, ooh,
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky. Actually, the one I was looking at was Rhyme.
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky still. They've shown so much No Man's Sky though. Like I don't know what else they could show.
See, and I don't care because that is what I want a video game to be. Every time they show more of that, I just go, man, this is what I have always wanted. Is I can just go and fly in my spaceship and land on a planet and see cool stuff on this planet and do some cool
Yeah.
stuff, and then I can just fly to the next. Oh, just that idea, that concept to me just like blows my mind.
Yeah, I think I'm like tepidly excited. This is like those I'm gonna wait for reviews kind of thing.
Nope.
But I think they showed so much of it already. Like I mean, PSX was pretty much No Man's Skyland.
But
Um,
but it was so good.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like I just don't think I can't see this being a big thing at the conference. I think it'll
Oh
just
no,
be
I
like a
don't.
new 2-3 minute trailer.
That's what it will for sure be that, but and probably maybe a firm release date. 'Cause I believe they said it was 2015. It was coming out. So
Yeah, I think the most curious thing about No Man's Sky is that if it's going to be like a $20 game or a $60 game.
that's true. I could see it. Yeah. Does it get a physical release or is it just a
Yeah,
yeah?
because I think right now it's way too experimental to be like a $60 game.
That's probably true. I think they need to have something else put into it other than you can just fly to planets.
Yeah, and I actually think that's what's going to be at E3 is going to be the something else besides just fly to planets.
Yeah. And again, that's why I'm excited about it.
Actually, Rhyme more than anything is Rhyme is actually the reason I bought a PS4 or was going
Really?
to until Bloodborne came out. Rhyme was the reason I got a PS4. Um, yeah, everything about Rhyme just makes me excited. And I actually think this game's coming out in 2015.
I don't remember if it had a date or not.
Yeah, I think they've been talking 2015. I mean, it was announced like quite a while
Yeah,
ago. So that one more than anything because it's just a weird Sony game that they're keep doing. Like what's the other that everyone's gone to the Rapture game?
yeah, that's another one that I think could show up here as one of their kind of almost bigger name but indie games.
Yeah, I like those. I'm a big fan of the Sony pumping a lot of money into an indie and then making them letting them do whatever they want.
Yeah,
So yeah, Rhyme is actually like my number one Sony game. Like more than I'm sitting here looking at the list. Okay, that's not true.
I was gonna say I know there's a couple on there that you're more excited about.
You know what it was? I was looking at so we have like when I'm looking at our list, we have games that we're pretty sure are going to be there. So like Uncharted 4, it's like okay, it's probably gonna look pretty cool. God of War 3, and it's probably Tire War Unfolded. Okay, but I'm looking at the rumors. Like the new Gorilla IP is going to be crazy.
Whenever they actually show something off from that, it's gonna be amazing, and I could see that being their stinger
Closer.
thing at the end. Yeah,
Yo, yeah, yeah. I, I, yeah. If it's not their closer, it's definitely their second to last thing. Because I think if God of War shows up, that would be their closer.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, but I could see that being their like last actual discussed game, and then
Yeah,
the Fade to Black, and then the one last trailer is the God of War trailer. I could see that happening.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Last Guardian. Do you think Last Guardian's gonna be there?
Uh, no,
Do
I'm way too fast.
do
At this point, I'm never. I'm gonna say no until I actually see something. That game's never gonna be a thing until somebody puts that game in front of my hands.
Yeah, I'm a little bit over it now, which
Yeah,
is so sad.
yeah. I mean, whatever. You showed something. It looked amazing. It's been 4 years. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I think honestly with like the rise of these indie games, like like the super indie games like Rhyme and No Man's Sky, like these games seem more interesting than the Last Guardian could ever be.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, The Last Guardian, I feel like is gonna be if you combined Ico and Shadows of the Colossus.
Yeah, which were cool games, but I just think there's now cooler games.
Yeah, people are. I mean, when those games first came out, people weren't trying things like that. Now they are.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I think a lot of these games were inspired by Ico and inspired by Shadow of the Colossus to start doing a lot of things. So I think they were really inspirational games, but I think a lot of people use it as a jumping pad to do something more interesting.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Um,
Morpheus. How much do you think we're gonna see of
don't
that?
care. I don't. Oh my god.
But see, to me, and this is the same thing, is I feel like every year there's always that one or two thing that I get stuck looking at for like 10 minutes that I just don't care about, and
That is
that's gonna
so
be
true.
Morpheus this year. Like a couple
Shit.
years ago was that book. Do you remember that book?
Oh, Wonder Book.
Yeah.
Oh man, I almost bought a Wonder Book the other day. It was like $10. Should have done that.
But no, like just I feel like it's just gonna be that thing that they're gonna be on stage talking about, and they're gonna go on and on about it, and I'm just gonna be irritated. The one thing I'm gonna be really, really super pissed about, and I read somewhere, I don't even remember if it was like a substantiated rumor or somebody just like yelling
Talking out
crazy
fast.
stuff,
Yeah,
but somebody mentioned, well, picture No Man's Sky as the first Morpheus game.
I could absolutely see that.
Exactly, and so could I, and that's what I'm really nervous about.
Oh no! Oh no! No! Oh, I think any Morpheus game is going to be a game you can just normally get.
That's probably true, but just
I Oh no, it's not going to be Morpheus exclusive. That'd be so dumb.
yeah,
No, there's. I think there's going to be very, very, very few Morpheus exclusive games.
yeah,
I think it's going to be like the Move, where
enhanced
oh,
with Move or whatever.
yeah, yeah. So it's gonna be like enhanced with Morpheus, which I think it'll be pretty cool for some games. I think it will have some smaller exclusive games,
Yeah,
but I think it'd be crazy for Sony to pump like a lot of money into making a AAA game for it.
yep.
I think they will use. I think they will definitely use No Man's Sky to show off the Morpheus, though.
Absolutely.
Um, Actually, the one game this one is another one I'm like crazy excited for is Ratchet and Clank. This
Yeah,
is bad because I think Ratchet and Clank are always good games. But they always it's a series that you're always kind of like, when's it going to look like a Pixar movie?
yeah. How far are they going to be able to push it?
Yeah, and Crack in Time was pretty close. Especially like some of those cutscenes were like definitely tiptoeing. They just need like another, I don't know, console generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't. You played Into the Nexus, and I assume that game looked pretty good.
Yeah, it did. Looks really good.
Yeah, so I gotta imagine this game is going to look like I don't think it's gonna look like CG exactly, but I think it's gonna look like the best Ratchet and Clank could ever look. I think it's going to be like nothing. Like this is going to be the penultimatum. This is as good as Ratchet and Clank will be or ever get.
Yeah, this will be their ending note of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
and I hope it's the end of the Ratchet and Clank series.
Yeah, that game's gone. That thing's gone on for a while. That could use a little hiatus.
Yeah, actually, what's kind of frustrating is they haven't actually finished up the main storyline.
Really?
Yeah, like he still needs to like get to the land of the Lombaxes,
Oh.
and they have not done that yet. And I just realized this is actually not the game that will do that because this is a remake.
Oh.
Shit, I
Well,
forgot about that.
sorry.
Dang. Let's finish up the series, guys. Anything else on this list that's making you go?
Well, two things. First of all, I'm depressed by the fact that nothing on here even remotely sounds like a Vita game. I think that thing's dead,
Uh,
which is sad because I love my Vita, but I think that thing might be gone. I don't think we'll. I would be impressed if we heard the word Vita mentioned more than twice.
ever.
I think they'll get mentioned just on like one or two of those indie games where it's launching on PS4 and Vita.
Oh, that's true. I honestly, I'm okay with it just being in my indie machine because I like playing my indie games
That's
on
true.
it.
The other thing I could see is Drive Club. I could see that finally being the time that the PS Plus version of Drive Club that's been coming out for forever is there, and you can get it now thing.
Well, no, I think they're definitely setting up the latest update for Drive Club actually mentioned the PS Plus version.
Exactly, and I know they did a big server update with it, so I could see this finally being the time where it's like, okay, we promised this to you in, I believe, November. It's June.
Oh no, they promised to like launch the PS4.
Well, I guess that's true, but November was when it was supposed to come out.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, well, it was
I,
supposed to launch simultaneously.
you're saying yeah when Drive Club came out. That came out a while ago, man. That was not November.
Really? I thought it was November. But anyway, I could totally see that being this year's, like, go get it now.
Yeah, I Drive Club itself, like I did play it the other day, and it is actually a really cool game. Although as I played it now, there's a lot of like DLC things to click on.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I feel like the PS Plus version is going to be like that's all you're going to see is just a bunch of like buy nows like all over
Yeah.
because it's going to be a free to play game. I mean, that's what they're setting it up to be.
Yeah, that's true.
It will be cool though. I think if anybody hasn't played Drive Club, as soon as you turn on Drive Club, turn off the HUD. It's a totally different experience and it's amazing. Actually, oh yeah, last thing, Gravity Rush 2 is gonna be crazy. If Gravity Rush 2, I think is gonna blow people's freaking minds. If
if
that's on PS,
if
it's
they
on
do
PS.
that on PS4 and they do it right, it's going to be crazy. Because that game was kind of just has a really unique art style, really crazy gameplay mechanics. And I think if you do that right on PS4, that could impress a whole lot of people.
Yeah, and it's been the header image for the Japanese community manager for PlayStation like for years. So I gotta imagine it was like not canceled, but they're definitely working on because I think that's what I guess that's what Sony Japan would probably be working on.
Yeah, because I think that was them.
All right. To wrap up real quick, what do you think the best conference is going to be?
EA.
Microsoft.
EA.
Microsoft's going to be surprising.
I'm thinking between two big Star Wars games, two huge Star Wars games. You've got new Mirror's Edge, you've got new Mass Effect, you've got, I mean, this is me, but you've got sports games. I think what they're going to show off there, and I mean, if they show anything new, or even if that Criterion game, even though it's not really Criterion, if that ends up being something, and they've got to have one or two more things in there that we don't know about yet. So I think EA could be really big.
That's true. I think Microsoft will win just because not win, but I think they'll have the best interesting one just because of the stuff we don't know about. I think the stuff we don't know about or haven't seen yet is going to be like jaw dropping.
Yeah.
So 3 top games you want to see?
For me, Visceral Star Wars. I'm just mainly because we have no clue what that is. There's been nothing mentioned of that other than this is happening. So I'm just curious. I mean, I don't know if it'll be the best game, but I want to see what it is. No Man's Sky, like I talked about, we know what it is. We've seen it a lot. It is the gaming experience I've dreamed about for forever. So I just can't even begin to imagine what that's going to be, and just I'm so excited for that game to begin with. So No Man's Sky is huge. And then my last one is I don't even know if it'll show, but the new Gears, whatever Black Tusk has been working on, just because it's been a long time since we've had a proper Gears game. So be really excited to see what that looks like now, how that plays, if they've changed anything over. But those are my
Hmm.
big three.
All right, so my top three, I wrote these down and I'm going to change them. So, so Kingdom Hearts 3, easily. That's like forever. I've waited for that game. So Kingdom Hearts, I am just super curious to see if they got the Kingdom shader working. Like I'm really hoping they make the Disney worlds look like the Disney worlds. And I'm more excited because I think the gameplay is solid enough that I don't really care if they mix it up too much. I hope they don't. I hope they just do really good Kingdom Hearts 2 gameplay. But I think what that game looks like is going to be the most interesting aspect of it. Scalebound, just because I have no idea what that looks like, and I think that seeing a real AAA platinum game is going to be crazy. Um, Especially because they're doing it in conjunction with Microsoft. And finally, I had Ratchet and Clank written down here, but now I think it's Gravity Rush 2. Gravity Rush 2 is one of those games that like completely blindsided me as being like, whoa, this is like an original game, like a really completely different game, a completely different way of thinking about how game mechanics can work. And I think if they actually did something interesting with those game mechanics instead of doing Gravity Rush 1 had a lot of problems with just they didn't really know what to do with 3D movement.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that if they do something interesting with that and they do with like the power of the PS4 or whatever, that it's just a next gen version of that is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess that just about wraps up our episode. Dang, that was a long episode. So you can follow us at on Twitter at Darksliders_pod. We are also on iTunes. We're on YouTube, and we're pretty much on anything you can find podcasts on. Brad keeps throwing us on different things, so I'm not even sure what we're on anymore.
I have no idea either. If you find something that we're not on, let me know, and I will put us on there.
Yeah, yeah. So pretty much any available thing to get podcasts. So that wraps up episode 15, and that's our super special E3 episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. It
Woo!
wasn't, yeah, yeah. Hope it wasn't too long winded. So I guess we'll see you. We'll see you next week for episode 16.
Bye.